Delusional diehard Kashimo fans hate Hakari because he shows a crack in the armor of the agenda of Kashimo being one of the top tier characters of Jujutsu Kaisen, because Hakari himself specifically isn't a character, in my opinion, that I find very much respected power-wise within the wider Jujutsu Kaisen power scaling community. So when a character like Hakari can be regular slash base Kashimo in a fight that often will still get discredited that he even won that fight, but when he shows that he can beat Kashimo, it shows that Kashimo may be vulnerable to characters who are usually surmountly stronger than Hakari, like Yuta or even Maki, for example. And so either way you look at it, if you interpret like Hakari, for example, during the Culling Games as being somebody who's stronger than Yuta, so if Hakari can beat Kashimo, then it's a strong possibility that Yuta can also beat Kashimo. But then if you interpret Hakari as being weaker than Yuta, then that means that Kashimo is probably going to be weaker than Yuta as well. And then also they just have a problem with accepting the fact that Kashimo using Mythical Beast Amber is a sort of a cop-out for a win, because he already knows the conditions around his technique. He knows if he uses Mythical Beast Amber, he's going to die. So in my opinion, the way I look at it, if I see him choosing to use Mythical Beast Amber, then he knew he couldn't beat the person, so he's gonna have to just draw or tie, quote unquote, so that he can at least kill the other person. But yeah, because Kashimo is a character that I think gets a lot of hype from the story for being strong, but then when you go to his showings and you compare it to other top tiers like Yuta in Volume 0, Rookie Sorcerer taking on Geto, who's a veteran special grade sorcerer, winning that. Then you have Yuta going in, has a small skirmish with Yuji, he's not taking him seriously, so it's not super impressive or anything. But then you have Yuta versus Sendai, which is one of the most impressive fights in the series. You have him fighting the rookie sorcerers towards the end of Shibuya. Then you have him versus Yuki, Choso, and Tengen, which is a super impressive fight on him being 3v1'd. Actually 3v1'd, unlike Yuta, it was a battle royale. But either way, getting 3v1 is still coming out on top. Super impressive. Maki fighting Curse Naoya, super impressive. Both Yuta and Maki have better showings against Sukuna, even though there's a lot of context behind that. Still looks better than Kashimo, who has, he beat Panda and then loses in a really contextual fight with Hakari, then faces Sukuna alone, and he just gets pretty much embarrassed as soon as Sukuna goes back to somewhat full health. So that's why Kashimo fans hate Hakari, because he's part of the reason why Kashimo gets this perception of being kind of a bum. And because like I said earlier, Hakari is not respected power scaling wise in the community, in my opinion. But on the wider range of people, a lot of people will discredit him, his statements or whatever, all the time. So then when you have something like Hakari, who intellectually and power scaling wise, or just like in physicals and hand to hand embarrasses Kashimo, it's gonna make, so then it forces Kashimo fans to constantly put everything he did in that fight within context and quotations, and say Kashimo quote unquote technically killed Hakari a few times and all that nonsense, when in reality that never happened.